Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. It's our penultimate Monday night podcast for a little while. It's myself, it's Trevor, and Andrew. We're going to talk the final home game of the season. We're going to talk Kevin Campbell, the Kevin Campbell Foundation, the Newcastle win, and Champions League football. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Andrew. Good evening, Trevor. Trevor, you had a nightmare journey because, Andrew, you couldn't come to the football due to the trains, but Trevor, you did, and you had a nightmare yesterday and a long journey back again today. What time did you get home at?
What time did I get home today? It wasn't too late. I think it was about 12 o'clock midday I got back. But I'm knackered. It was a long day yesterday, and I stayed down. So yeah, I'm grumpy and I'm tired tonight. And as soon as this is over, I'm going to bed.
So nothing normal then, nothing unusual then.
It's a normal Monday night.
Yeah, it's a normal Monday night. Grumpy and tired. That's Trevor. Andrew, I know you had something to do with Theo with his football and everything else, but also missing out in the game, the last home game of the season. Must have been a little bit painful, was it?
Oh, just a bit. Sat there listening. Theo, so he had his football presentation. So they've gone and won the league and cup double. So well chuffed with him, and I couldn't really miss him sort of lifting them trophies. So, but yeah, sat there waiting for it all to kick off and watching all the videos come in and everybody drinking and pictures of Guinness flying around. It was proper. Sat there thinking, I want to be down there. So yeah, but he'd have never spoken to me again if I'd have missed that. So yeah, so bivvy.
Yeah. Trevor, it was a great day for lots of different reasons. We'll talk about the football stuff as we go along. But, the last home game of the season is always an important one because it's the last time most fans get to see each other for 3 months. It's a time to recharge your batteries because it is exhausting. Mem, one of our friends, came to, I think it's his first game of the season. And I spoke to him this morning. And he said, I don't know how you do that. I was exhausted when I got home. I said, we do it every week. And the likes of Trevor and Dan do like 3-day trips to Europe as well. So, yeah, it is exhausting. It is exhausting, Trev.
Yeah, it is exhausting following our great club. We can't moan about it being exhausting because no one forces us to do it. But nonetheless, it is exhausting. And I'm ready for a rest. I'm going to get Southampton out of the way next week. And then I'm going to put my feet up for a few weeks in the motorhome and do absolutely nothing. And I'm not going to drink any beer either. I'm going to give that a rest for a bit as well because some of the pictures I'm seeing of me yesterday, oh my God, I need to have a summer where I shed some weight.
At our age, Trevor, that's unlikely to happen very, very easily, is it? So, it was really good as well when we're in the pub beforehand, and a good friend of the show, Hente, made the trip over for this game, and he will be at the Southampton game as well. We had a photograph with him, which Jason took, which is a really nice photograph. That's probably the better photograph than the one he wanted to show on the podcast, which is that one where he cut me out, Trev.
I'll tell you what, that's some beard that boy's got on him.
Isn't it just?
Some beard that boy's got on him. It's a shame because it's covering what is really a really nice shirt. But it was good to meet Henty.
Yeah, and there's pictures of some of the boys with the flags outside the Woodbine on Blackstock Road. So it was a really good day. Mick at the pub done us a great service. We had the Kevin Campbell flag outside there as well, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about that. Probably soon, Trev, because talk to people about this flag. So this flag, at the beginning of last season, you asked me what you reckon. I'll leave it from there.
You see, Fergus, I have to be careful here because I don't want it to look in any way, shape, or form that it was anything to do with glorifying myself, because nothing could have been further from the truth, mate.
No, we know.
I got on well with Kevin. I liked the man. He passed on at a very young age, sadly. And at the start of the season, I just thought, let's do something that's going to remind people what a great man he was. So I had the idea of the flag. You came along for the ride. A few people, loved it. So that was it. I got it done, and it's come all over Europe with us this season. I wish it was coming to one more game. I honestly think, and it's not a cliche, I honestly think it was so close to coming to another game. I really do think it was so close to coming to another game. But that's another subject. But so I was thinking, what am I going to do with it? So I thought, well, I'll ask the family if they want it. And Jason Lavelle, who's a great friend of Kevin's and knows the family well, said that they'd love it. So yesterday we met Kevin's brother H, who's second from the second from the right there, and Trevor, another good friend, and we handed the flag over for safekeeping. If I'm honest, I felt a little bit naked not bringing it home today. You know what I mean? My bag that it's always been in felt a bit light, but hey, no, it's where it should be. It's where it should be. It's done its tour, and now they're going to keep looking after it, and they're going to bring it out for occasions at the foundation. They're going to bring it out on special occasions, and that's what should be done with it. So, as I said right at the start of this, and I'll say it one more time, I wasn't looking for any self-glorification by doing that. I just wanted to show my respects to a very special person, and I've done that now, and I'm really pleased that everybody came on board with it. So that's it.
Well, Trevor, it wasn't just you that took that flag. Yes, it was your idea and your initiative, as you said, not to get any glory, but all this crowd of gooners around Block 5 were just humbled to meet H and listen to his stories and everything else. It was absolutely brilliant. I've got a little video clip of when this photo was taken by one of the stewards, so I'll just play that now.
Super Kevs, Super Kevin Campbell, Super Kevin Campbell.
Yeah, it was just a really nice afternoon, and from there the atmosphere just built, didn't it, Trev?
Yeah, it did. It was an extremely important game yesterday, and everybody was up for it. Everybody knew that Newcastle were going to be a strong opposition, and that turned out to be the case. I honestly thought we were lucky not to go a couple of goals down, if I'm honest. But we didn't, thanks to Raya, who made up for his own mistake on one occasion and then made some excellent saves, and we've come out winning the day. I don't know if I should. Yeah, I'm going to do it, right? I'm just going to take a minute, Fergus. Just
have no clue what's coming up here.
No, I just want to dwell on Kevin Campbell for a minute, right? Because Kevin could tell a story, right? And he's told this story publicly, so I'm not speaking out of turn, but he was telling me one day, he said that, because when Kevin Campbell was a young player, he was an absolute superstar coming through the youth team. Scored more goals than anyone I've ever known. And but there was no social media then, early mid-80s, there was no social media. So we used to go to games at Highbury every week, and you'd buy the programme, right? You'd buy the programme, and the first thing I used to look at was, how many goals did that Campbell score this week? How many goals did that Campbell score? Because he used to score for fun. He'd get 3, 4, 5 goals a game, Amazing. But he was telling me once that he was called into George Graham's office at Highbury to sign. I don't know if it was his first contract, but it was one of his early contracts. And he went in and said, "Morning, Mr. Graham." George Graham said, "Sit down." And George Graham got this contract out of his desk. There's no agents, right? No agents them days. Got his contract out of his desk and put it in front of Kevin and says, "Here, young Kevin, sign that contract. That's your new professional contract." So Kevin turned it straight over to the back page. And in Kevin's words, he turned it over the back page because that's where the interesting part was, right? That's where they were going to tell you how much money they were going to pay you. And he said, I looked at it and I said, I'm really sorry, Mr. Graham, but I can't sign that. It's not quite enough. I want to look after my mum and I want to look after my family. And he said, George Graham was fuming, smoking at the ears, And he said, get out of my office. Get out of my office. You won't sign a contract, blah, blah, blah. So with that, Kevin shot off, right? And about 2 or 3 weeks later, George Graham's calmed down and he's summoned Kevin Campbell back to his office, right? And Kevin said, I went in and sat down. I was really nervous because I know I'd upset him a few weeks before, So he said, George went in his desk, same drawer, pulled out his contract, put it in front of him. So he said, I turned it straight to the important page again over to the back. And he said, it was the same bloody contract. He didn't expect me to look at it, I don't think. So he put the same contract back in front of him and he said, no, Mr. Graham, I can't sign it. And it all blew up and went pear-shaped again. But, I mean, he tells that story much better than I ever did, Kevin. And but it was just, the point I'm making, it was just shows how even on a one-to-one basis with me, he would engage with you, right, and make you feel $1 million, And I'm going to finish on it now. He was a wonderful man. I miss him badly, and that's it. With the flags with his family and with Jason, and we're going to move on and talk about the game. Right, where were we with the game, boys?
Well, I was going to talk about the pre-match atmosphere, but a couple of the guys are commenting about my new shirt, and in particular, Gary said that came very quick from Mr. Wuhan. Unfortunately, Mr. Cronky got the better of me. He plied me with very cheap alcohol after the game, and he places that bar right beside a concession store that sells these shirts. So last night I bought it from the shop. So yeah, this is a genuine one.
I didn't know they'd sold 4XLs in the shop. I didn't
either, Trev. But it didn't fit you. It didn't fit you. You had to get yours specially sent in, don't you?
Listen, it fitted you. I could live in it. I could put a pole through the middle and live in it.
It's to him, isn't that?
Somebody who did get a new shirt for his birthday, Ben Bennett. We're going to give him a shout out. Happy birthday, Ben.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Benny. Happy birthday to you.
Ben, you know what? Sam doesn't look too bad. He doesn't look under too much strain there with Ben. He's like quite calm with that one, don't you think? When he lifted me up, he said his back was ruined for a day afterwards. No, that was you, Andrew, wasn't it? That was you.
That was me. That was your birthday when we lifted you up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's it seems to be becoming a birthday tradition. Was it your birthday yesterday, Trev?
No, not at all. No, I just got attacked from behind.
I thought you were going over that stage, mate. I really did. I
got used to it after the first time he'd done it. I stayed quite safe there. But yeah, listen, happy birthday, Ben Bennett. I know you don't get to the Arsenal as often as you'd want to now. And actually, you don't get to the Arsenal as often as I'd like to see you, mate. So happy birthday, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of you next season, son.
Yeah, the last photo I've got of pre-game is we done our walk to the stadium. We've done it in the stadium because we had to see Jason and stuff beforehand. And I don't know, it was Jason or Marissa, but people were taking photographs of us trying to record this with our microphones on, taking the piss out of us. What more do you expect? So
yeah, we
Dale's just gone now. I haven't all three of us been on Sam's shoulders. There's no way Sam's lifting me. Not a chance. He's not getting my fat waist up there. He could try.
All right, Lyle's come along, so we might have to do a GoFundMe for Sam's knee replacement, which is probably right. Listen, let's get back to the serious things. I know people love to hear how our days and the games go. We have a realistic look at what the game is like. But Arsenal versus Newcastle, it was the final game of the season at home, and there was a lot to play for because a point guaranteed to us Champions League football and 3 points guaranteed Newcastle Champions League football. Newcastle were without Isaac. He was out for a groin injury, and we were without Marino, who was out for suspension, and Trossard came in for him. The lineup was Raya, wow, man of the match. Ben White, Saliba, Kivior, Lewis Skelly, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard. I'll come to you first, Andrew. What did you make of the lineup? How did you feel before the game?
Confident. I didn't think we were going to lose that game yesterday. I just, you could just have this feeling that we were just going to go and get the job done. I think it was probably slightly harder work than I thought it was going to be, especially when we saw that Isak wasn't starting. I thought, well, that's a bit of a relief because obviously he's had Saliba a couple of times already this year, but for him to with Kivior at the back, it was always a little bit kind of like not sure because where we're going to go. But yeah, I mean, I was fairly confident. I wasn't as confident 10, 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Trevor, and it was the opening half of the first half. I think you alluded to earlier on about David Raya. I think in the first 15 minutes there was an early point where Raya kicked the ball out. I don't know if he was trying to get it to Partey to Odegaard, but it went to Tonali instead and resulted in some pressure coming upon him, and he had to make a double save. Well, what a double save! And we've got the other one as well to talk about afterwards. But his performance throughout was unreal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that kick out, I reckon he was going to trying to go to Partey, but it didn't go within 5 yards of Partey. It went directly to the lad who, unfortunately, Raya was up to, as he has been all season. If we're honest, he was up to the mark and made the double save. And they were talking on the. I watched it back today, and they were talking and saying that. Raya's a bit of a dab hand at these double saves, isn't he? Eh?
Yes.
He made the double penalty save. Where was that at? Atalanta, I think.
Atalanta, was it?
Atalanta, I think, yeah. He made the double penalty save there, and he's done it once or twice more this season. So, yeah, he's not perfect, but what goalkeeper is. And right at the present moment in time, I wouldn't swap him for anyone. So, yeah. Good on you, David Raya. Let's see.
Chasing that golden glove down, isn't he? He's one behind, and you look at the keeper who's above him. Is Matt Sells at Forest?
No, so he's level with him now.
He's level with him now, yeah. So he was one behind into that game. So you'd hope he's going to get one on, keep a clean sheet on Sunday. So, he's got every chance of being able to do that. And if he does get it, he deserves it after that performance yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, my
it might be a good
chat.
idea to there's going to be loads of comments coming up tonight, and if you took it off again, will you leave it alone? It's and if one or two come up, mate, I might try and divert you to it if you like. Now, Simon Lester, right, good friend of the show, lovely man to talk to. Met Simon a few times this season. Enjoy his company. Gets a bit dodgy with the comments sometimes. I had to give him a yellow card the other night, didn't I? Because he got a bit near the mark. Can't remember what the comment was now. But I'll tell you what, he's bang on with that, Ferg. Absolutely bang on with that.
He is further along in my notes. When I watched back the game, I made some separate notes as well because Raya made another double save later on. But Kivior 2 or 3 times actually saved Raya and saved his blushes as well, where Newcastle were putting a lot of pressure on that box. And Kivior was outstanding. If it wasn't for Raya, he's up there in the top 2 or 3 players in that match for man of the match.
Yeah. What did you think, Andrew?
Yeah, do you know, I mean, those first, when I said earlier on, it's like when Isak, when he had the best of Saliba, and then you got Kivior. The only reason I was worried about that was, his Kivior can turn him really easily when you watch him back, so he can get caught on the wrong foot. But you know what? I can't put a foot wrong. That he literally for the last 10 games, 12 games, the lad's been immense, and he's probably been so close to being man of the match on numerous occasions for us. And when you go back to the stick that he was getting, and for pre-season thing, he's really told everybody where to go, hasn't he, with those performances?
I was just about to say that, Trev. You look at Marino. I know Odegaard's got some stick throughout the season, but Marino, Kivior, other players that the people have come along and said, "Oh, they're not good enough to wear the shirt." Social media, Twitter sphere, and everything else. But these players have demonstrated by showing it on the pitch, haven't they?
Yeah. Do you know what? Absolutely. And Kivior, he got some unwarranted. I know people didn't have confidence in him. That's fine, right? Because we've all got our opinions on players. But from some other quarters, he got some real serious grief to Kivior, and he's shoved it firmly back down people's throats, and I couldn't be happier for the boy. Couldn't be happier for the boy than I am. If you had to choose a backup centre half, you couldn't find a better one, I don't think, really.
That's a key though, Trev. He's been used as a backup centre half on the left. I know he played in the right in the second half when Saliba came off, but he's a centre half by nature. And when we played him last season, and the other times that people have criticised him, we were playing him to cover Kieran Tierney or Zinchenko, and that was before Lewis Skelly came through. We're playing him in a left back position, which isn't. He's not fast, he's not mobile, but he's very strong and he can read the game very, very well. And I also was impressed with him how he got in at the 95th minute, and he was in the middle of all that melee with Dan Burn as well. So he ain't afraid to stand up for his teammates.
Do you know what? I nearly said he's a nasty little so-and-so, that Dan Burn, but he ain't little, is he? He's a big lump of a man, and he does like to stir it up. And if you'd have gone back 4 or 5 years, the Arsenal team would have been backing away from him when he started getting a bit leery at the end of that game. But he dropped a clanger, didn't he? Because they two them Arsenal players were at him and saying, "Hey, get out of here, get out of here." And listen, folks, before you move on, I know you're going to come to it, right? But I'm just going to say now, Miles Lewis Skelly, please, never, ever change.
Oh, no. But you know what? I'm gonna come to, like, you just left out a perfect point as well when we're talking about Skelly and Dan Burn. Did you see? You might not have seen it in the stadium, but did you see Lewis Skelly beat Dan Burn to that header?
Oh, where's my screen?
It is insane.
You just sent me the picture. Give me a second to line it up, will you? Christ's sake, man!
Well, it was a perfect line, mate. It was like
I know, but I may have to go try and find it.
Honestly, I'll talk about it while you find it. It was.
What I don't need tonight is you two giving me an headache, right? So knock it on the head.
I know. Look at that. I mean, I've just nicked that off the phone now, but the distance he was up, and I know he's had a bit of a run up to him, but my God, he's so high. It's such a good header.
He took the ball off his head, and he's 6'6", as Dan Burn. So I thought it was pretty. But it's the tenacity of Lewis Skelly, and he's loving it. He's living his best days at the minute, which is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And Connor's right.
He turns around afterwards and loves it.
And Connor's right as well. There's a photo in that melee, and he's in there giving Burn loads, and he's just laughing and smiling. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Mm. He did when he came down off that header. He literally turned around to him and gave him the most smuggest grin ever. It was brilliant. He picked up on the commentary. It was absolute class.
The only opportunity we really had in the first half came about 13 minutes in from a set piece, and Thomas Partey nearly scores from a corner. Now, Andrew, do you think Pope knew anything about this?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. I think it was just reflex. He just put his body there, didn't he?
Not a chance. He's literally just jumped and thrown his arms in the air. It's it's what great keepers do, isn't it? Schmeichel was king for it. He just used to jump up and make himself as big as possible, and that's all he's done. There's not a chance he knew he was going to get to that, because I was up. I thought that was in.
Yeah, I think most of the stadium was up at that point, Trev. Anything else in that first half that stood out to you, Trev?
Yeah, well, there's that. As you say, there's the Pope save that he just stuck his hand up and got very lucky, as we've said already. Yeah, I was drunk, so I've watched it back today. But
Trossard had a chance, didn't he? Early on, he shot past. Trossard actually worked really well. I thought Trossard worked well on that left side really, really well. I thought it was probably one of his better games.
Yeah, I agree.
He's had a good game, and he's had a few good games this season. But what I'm trying to do in my head all the time is put my finger on where we need to look at the start of next season. And I know we need a centre forward. We've all said that. But when I'm looking at in my head at a setup, I don't see Trossard starting in the team. I don't see it. And I love the kid. I love all Arsenal players. We know that. I stand their corner. Always stand their corner. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I just don't see him starting if we get who we want, when we want, and where we want playing. Just going back to, we've got to go back to Skelly, right? Simon, how is Skelly not up for young player of the season?
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but it's because he probably plays for Arsenal. Lewis Skelly is the young player of this season, right, by a country mile, right?
100%.
There's no one even near him. So I don't know what they're playing about anyway. What a load of old crap.
Myself and Dan were talking about the most outstanding player of the season. I think Dan said Declan Rice, and we'll come on to Declan Rice with his goal and how he's improved, etc. But for me, I said Lewis Skelly. I know he came in not from the very start of the season, but Lewis Skelly's just been an absolute revelation, and I think he's only going to go from strength to strength to strength. He's cemented a first team starting spot, something unfortunately Wanyeri hasn't been able to do. But Wanyeri's in a position where he's got Saka or Odegaard to try and oust to get in, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him. Definitely for me, young player of definitely should be mentioned in that area. But I think maybe the press don't like that he's got something about him. He had that smile on his face when he was in that melee. He done the Odegaard be humble sort of stuff. And I think his bit of shithousery, I think that's probably what is...
Spurs was the best one. Spurs, when they were trying to push him off the pitch and he just wouldn't go, and he then was like geeing the crowd up as he went. Spurs,
yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you know, Ferg, going back to that, where it all started, that with the Erling Haaland stay humble thing, I'm wondering if Mikel Arteta is some kind of Spanish witch doctor, and he's put a spell on Haaland, because since Haaland done that, he fell off a cliff, and he's proper fell off a cliff.
He's such a one-trick pony, and he didn't have the balls to take that penalty in the FA Cup final. And how good was that to see Palace get through? Like, it was brilliant.
Super.
It was, and you're right about Haaland being a one-trick pony, and he's particularly got the hump with Arsenal, Haaland, I think, because we worked him out first, didn't we? We worked him out last season or the season before. Saliba and Gabriel have had him in their pockets. City ain't beaten us for about 4 or 5 games now. Haaland scored, I think, I stand to be corrected, but I think Haaland scored 1 goal for him in that time. So, yeah.
Liverpool haven't beaten us either in 6 games.
The top teams can't beat us. It's what beats us is the bloody Fulhams and the Bournemouths. That's what's beating us. And even West Ham. West Ham turning.
We've gone this way around, haven't we? Because like you always said, didn't you, Trev, that we will win the league if we win the games in the Northwest. We seem to be winning all the games in the Northwest, but then seem to be dropping silly points away from the Northwest.
Yeah, games.
It was
we shouldn't be losing.
West Ham at home, 2 seasons on the bounce. That shouldn't happen. Look, we'll save that for an end of season phoning or whatever it is that we're going to do. Debrief. 55 minutes, Declan Rice decisive goal. It was the only goal that came in the game, and it was when Declan Rice unleashed a stunning first time strike from 20 yards out, following a pass and assist from Martin Odegaard. But it's not only secured the points for us, it cements Declan Rice's coming of age with Arsenal. Like, they talk about him at West Ham and how good he was at West Ham. He scored 15 goals in 245 games in all competitions. He's already scored 16 goals in 102 games in all competitions for Arsenal. And he's finished in his 2nd season. And again, the conversation me and Dan are having in the stands, how much has he improved? He's added more to his game, Trevor, than every player has added a lot to their locker, but him in particular. He's loving that 8 role. He's loving being more an attacking midfielder.
Yeah, there could be lots of things. Firstly, Declan's just improved again, which we've known. If we go back a few years on this podcast, I've always said I wanted to see Declan Rice in an Arsenal shirt. You knew he was a special player, but when he's moved to Arsenal, he's moved up another gear. If he'd have just fitted in, brought his form with him from West Ham, we'd have all been happy. But he's turning into a very, very special young player. Possibly, arguably the best in the country in his position. And he's added goals to his game this season, scored a few more goals. We really have got a very special talent on our hands. And we're that close, right? We're so close to winning the the trophies that Declan Rice joined us to win. We are really close, and Declan Rice will know that. Declan Rice will know that, and he won't lower his levels. He'll keep lifting and lifting. And I think I don't want to say it, but I'm still excited. I've got to the end of another season where we've not won nothing, right? So I should be really, really disappointed, and I am disappointed to a certain extent. But when I think deeper and when I look ahead, I'm still really excited for what's to come. I really am. We're right in it.
How are you, Trev? I think we're onto something massive. I really do. And I think, everyone I've had a load of grief this week off one of my mates who's a big Spurs fan. Your problems are Arteta and all this stuff, and you've got like all your bridesmaids. And I know, I'm sorry, but I'm not taking any jip off someone who's literally the manager's led you to defeat 21 games in a season and be fourth from bottom of the Premier League. This team is on the brink of really sort of doing something special. And to finish second 3 times in a row, Champions League semi-final. Do you know what? This is awesome.
Exactly. And
Trevor, do you know the last time we finished second 3 times in a row? 99, 98, 98, 99 season, 99, 2000 season, 2000, 2001 season. 3 times we finished second in a row. And in 2002, we ended up doing the double. So hopefully that's
yeah. Indeed, we did. We did go on and do the double. And I'm sure that's just around the corner. And what we have, I know we're going to review this season, but as we talk about these things, it's lovely to just talk like this, it's not an excuse, right? It's not an excuse. It is an absolute 100% fact that injuries have cost us greatly this season. I'm not going to say injuries have cost us winning a trophy, but they've most definitely affected our performances in too many games.
I think, do you know what, right? You work it out back, and I think at one point, other than Raya, I think we've had every single player in every single position out at some point in the team, haven't we? It's like how many back fours did we have when we were talking about this at Christmas, weren't we? How many different combinations do we have in the back four?
I think around Christmas we had 18 different back four combinations. Sometime just after Christmas, so I give up counting. I think there was a stat that came out saying we had 27 injuries, injured players since the start of the Champions League or something like that. I can't remember the stat. It just became so. Listen, on the subject of injuries, Saliba was taken off at half time. Do you know why, Andrew? Does anybody know why Calafiori came on? Played very, very well, I might add.
Apparently he rolled his ankle. He jumped up for a header and he rolled his ankle. Apparently, it was just precaution. So they said on Sky, but I can't imagine if there's not much chance with the game to go. Is that he's gonna risk anybody getting a serious injury and being out over the summer?
Yeah. And Havertz, was good to see Havertz coming back on, Trevor. You saw him warm up in front of us. Demsek said it was a hamstring for Saliba. Okay, so that's his summer sorted. Havertz came back. We didn't think he would be back this season, but he made it back in time. Sadly, it's not from Munich, but he looked well when he came on. He looks much stronger, much more built up the top, doesn't he?
My immediate thought was that boy's not been able to do much running, so he's been working on his upper body. He looks extremely fit. It was great to see him come back on, and he got a wonderful reception. But you just named a player, Ferg, and in Calafiori, right, who's been blighted by injuries since he joined us. I think that if we keep Calafiori fit, Ferg, we've got one hell of a player there. He strolls around that field with so much confidence, and I can't wait to see more of him. I really can't.
Did the work rate that he came on yesterday, and he worked really hard and he chased everything down. To go back, we were just saying about Declan Rice as well. Is that the one that sums Declan Rice up for me? I think it was PSG away when we lost the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he made that tackle in our own 18-yard box to stop the shot. If you want anything that sums him up, that is Declan Rice, and I think Havertz just brings another dimension to that as well with the 2 work rate we've got. I think that is what we've missed towards the back end of the season.
Yeah, there was a bit on Match of the Day about Declan Rice, and they said he was everywhere, and then talked about him scoring his goal and everything else. But there was another point where we're back. I think one of our left backs or right backs, it would have been left back, would have been Miles Lewis-Skelly's further up the pitch. Who's in that position? Declan Rice. It's unreal. I suppose we discussed Calafiori. The other ones you talked about, the reception that they received. Kieran Tierney and Jorginho, Trevor, both came on the pitch. They got a run out, and deservedly so. They got the recognition from the fans whilst the game was playing on TV, and also after when they'd done the walk around.
Arsenal loves you more than you may know. Whoa,
Oh, here's to you, Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, listen, right. For the amount of football Kieran Tierney's played for us, right? Should we be sad to see him go? I don't know. That's debatable. But I'm absolutely gutted the boy's going. Got to remember when Kieran Tierney joined the club, right? He's now one of our longest serving players. He joined the club when we were crap, right? And when we had, if we're honest, maybe some prima donnas in the club that wore gloves in the summer and didn't want to go out their way. And Kieran Tierney turned up for training every week in the snow, in the ice, with his shorts and his t-shirt on, his Tesco carrier bag over his shoulder. And he brought it all down a level, right? And we all looked at him and thought, yeah, I like this lad's attitude. I really do. And you could see bombed up and down the left, and he was tough as old boots. Yeah, he got injured too much, and it's sad, and he hasn't played anywhere near the amount of football he should from us. But I wish him nothing but the very, very best. And I thank him for coming to us at a time when there would have been lots of other attractive propositions put to him from teams probably doing better than us. But he chose us, picked his Tesco carrier bag up and come and did it for us. So all the best to the kid. Good luck to him. I hope he does really well.
I wish him all the luck in the world. I do think it's probably best for him. He hasn't had the best run for us, but there was a tweet I saw, and it might have been even Ben Bennett, but there was a tweet that I saw today, and it was wishing Tierney all the best, and said he may have had dark times while playing with Arsenal. I haven't got the exact, and it wasn't the best run. But he came, exactly as you said, Trev, he came and he was the start of the regeneration of the team that we have right now. And, good luck to him. I've also heard he hasn't been 100% happy whilst in London, and, he'd rather be back up in Scotland. And,
Yeah, that's speculation, though, Ferg, isn't it?
It's reasonably okay, but I don't know. But listen, if he's happier and he's getting game time, and he loves Celtic as well. He's a Celtic fan, and he's been a Celtic player for ages. I think it was, again, it might have been Dan, the conversations we have when we're watching football. Brendan Rodgers played him to death when he was at Celtic, and that's half the reason he's got the injuries and stuff that he's got. But it would have been great if he made it. But you know what? There also is a part of me that thinks that I don't know, unless he could adopt his game more to playing that inverted role that Arteta wants. I don't think it was ever going to work out 100% for him at the Arsenal. But, is a proper, as Ben's just said in the chat, proper pro. Shame about his injuries. Well said, boys. Love KT. What else we got? Arsenal, Arteta will not be at the Southampton game. Actually, I don't think there'll be any managers in the dugout for the Southampton game, which is really strange. I don't know. I think they're sacking, or he's suspended himself, their manager. I don't know, but I just heard somebody saying there will be no managers in the dugouts.
What was that referee's name yesterday?
Simon Hooper.
Simon Hooper. What a knob! He refereed the game. Do you know what? Up until
really well, I thought.
Goal. You what?
Up until we scored a goal, yeah, I thought he'd done really well.
Up until we scored a goal, I thought he was having a really good game. Couldn't call him. Thought, being fair, both teams. Then after we scored, right, he seemed to just turn against us, right? And I thought it was just in my head. And then I saw a post on X today from a good friend of mine, basically saying the same. And I thought, bloody hell, it wasn't just me that thought that, I mean, he's blown up against Arteta there, and if you look it back slowly, the ball that the defender's getting on is nowhere near. Arteta's just kicking the ball back to the player so they can carry on, you know?
Yeah.
And then in the 5 minutes of added time, right, he suddenly decides to find another 2 minutes on top of that 5, right? On top of that 5.
He said that was for Raya's time wasting that he booked him for.
What?
But he done that. Didn't he do Raya?
So he's wasting. He's wasted 2 minutes time wasting in 5 minutes, has he?
He booked Raya towards the end of the second half, and then he said that he added the time on because of the time that he wasted. So I mean, it wasn't even part. It's just trash because they argued it. They asked him right afterwards, and that's what it was. There was a summit from one of the players asking yesterday why they booked him. Sorry, why he played so long.
The thing is, it's not even going to help Arteta. He can't go on holidays early because he's the manager anyway. So he's still got to manage the team.
He's still going to be there, isn't he?
He's got to go there. He's not going to do like, who was I think it was Dennis Irwin years ago used to always get a red card just before Christmas, so he could have Christmas with the family.
I'm sorry, I'm being very biased towards my football club in my great team. It was ridiculous refereeing, right? Absolutely picky and unwarranted, but something we've seen aimed against the Arsenal in particular, and I will say that because I'm an Arsenal fan, this season, with our players sent off for kicking the ball away. No exaggeration, I've probably seen the ball kicked away 500 times since, and not once has that thing happened again, and it's happened twice to us. And there's others. We don't want to dwell on the ref. It's last home game of the season. But yeah, in my view, we've been worse off this year because of their stupid, horrible refereeing.
There was four red cards. We got the Declan Rice second yellow. You got the Trossard second yellow, which I've never seen done again. You've got the Lewis Skelly one, which was overturned because it was ridiculous that it was a red card there.
That still could have been really costly, though, couldn't it? Because it was no at that point.
Yeah, we're fortunate we won that game, but the Bournemouth game against Saliba, that was touch and go as well. And the referee had given a yellow, and I don't know. We have been unlucky, and I'm sure every team can go down the league and go whether we're lucky and they weren't. But they're quite standout, sort of obvious mistakes, which you're not seeing. You're not seeing the same ones. We had it. I still go back to Robin van Persie in the Bernabeu kicking the ball after the whistle was blown when everyone in the stadium is whistling. Tommy Asu taking longer than 8 seconds to take a throw in at Crystal Palace at the first away game of the season a few years ago when we were in the mint green top. And you just think like, hang on, I've never seen. It mightn't be the mint green top actually, but I've never seen those sort of cards given again, and it just seems to stick out a little.
Don't forget the Martinelli 2 yellow cards.
Martinelli, Wolves.
I'm glad you brought it up, Ferg. I'm glad you brought it up, son, because the one that really grates with me is Saliba at Bournemouth, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't care if you're an expert on the telly. I don't care if you've been refereeing 50 years. I don't care if you're, what's his name, Gallagher in the studio, breaking it all down and saying, yeah, he was 4 meters this way and 6 meters that way and 7 meters this way. If anybody on this planet tells me that Ben White definitely wouldn't have caught that attacker that day, I'll look him in the eye and call him a liar. And I'll look him in the eye and call him a liar with every confidence, because nobody knows if Ben White was going to catch that attacker that day. I honestly think it was likely that Ben White would, because Ben White's
rapid
character. He's rapid.
He is.
And as I said, in that situation in particular, anybody you want, Gary Neville, Carragher, anyone you want, look me in the eye and tell me that Ben White wouldn't have caught that attacker that day, and I'll look you in the eye and call you a liar. And that's why that shouldn't have been a red card. Right. I've enjoyed that anyway. I'm not angry.
I'm going to leave it. I'm not putting 10 pence in it. I'm leaving it. Go on, carry on. Move on.
Yeah, the next one is Southampton. Oh, I've just closed all my notes. Southampton. Southampton is not a happy hunting ground for us. That's our next and last game of the season, Trevor. We're making the journey down there. You know what? I'm doing the journey more. Loving to go to see the Arsenal. I'm doing it, but I'm doing it more for like the day out with us.
You want to go and see the bloke behind you on your wall, on your door, don't you?
That's you know what? If we're 3-0 up and Aaron Ramsdale's down our end, we'll go on this one, Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah.
So but we just need a point to secure a second place. Southampton isn't the happiest hunting grounds. 23 visits and we've only won 9. We've lost 7 and drawn 7. How are you feeling about this one, Trev?
Do you know what? Sorry, I've just seen Gary Jones is in the chat. Lovely to see you yesterday, Gary. I know you're not at Southampton next week, mate. So have a lovely summer, mate, and we'll see you next season. Southampton away? Not even thought about it. Not crossed me mind for 1 second. I don't know why it hasn't, but it just hasn't. We should go there and win. But as you said, Fergus, I've been there a few times recently and seen us play awfully. But yeah, I think we go there. I honestly hope we go there, have all the game, right? Have 150 shots on goal, and we win 1-0, and Ramsdale's had a blinder. That would be the best of both worlds for me. You know what I mean? Because I love Aaron Ramsdale. But yeah, obviously I want us to win. But no, I'm not even that excited about travelling down yet. That's because I'm knackered from yesterday still.
Should we try?
We'll see Ramsdale next year, won't we?
In the Premier League somewhere.
He's rumoured to be going either to Villa or to Leeds. So Martinez to United and then Ramsdale to Villa is the rumour.
Oh yeah, because Martinez was doing a big farewell, wasn't he? At the end of
I reckon he's going to Man United.
Okay, so what
he wants to get well at Man United? Dick goalkeeper, Dick club.
That's right. He fits well, then, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Trev, should we text Nick and see if he's free for a beer down in Southampton on Sunday?
No, I'm leaving that. That's all right. That's down to you. You can do that. I'm not bothered.
Okay.
Not a chance. Not a chance. No.
Okay, so what are we thinking?
Not
what are we
bothered.
thinking?
Repeating myself.
What are we thinking about then the Southampton game, Andrew? What's your expectations? By the looks of it, we're not going to have Saliba, so does that mean we're going to have Calafiori and Kivior as the centre halves?
Do you know what? I'm a bit with Trev, really. I'm at the end of the last game of the season. I think we'll go and win it, whatever. I'm not worried. I think Southampton, 84, 85 goals they shipped this year. I think we'll put a few past them. I think we'll, probably a chance. Maybe we'll see if he's fit. I don't know if he is, but maybe we'll see Manweri out and a couple of the others out as well. It'd just be great to sign the season off, and for you guys that have done home as a way for them to sign off in style with it, with a nice win, cement that second place, and let's all go and enjoy the summer and get ready for next year.
And Kappa will have completed the 58, Trev.
Yeah, good lad. Yeah, you can't fault his commitment to our great club. He's gone high and low and the length and breadth of the country this season, and I'm proud of him, to be honest. Proud of him.
Yeah, me too. Boys, I think that's it for now. I have got a different button to press if you want. No, go on then. Let me take this off and change.
I've got plenty I want to talk about. Yeah,
go on then.
Go on.
Well, firstly, an important thing for me, right? Thomas Partey. No, put the screen on, folks. Put the screen on.
Well, I've got to nip out for a second.
Thomas Partey. Andrew, is Thomas Partey going to be a part of Arsenal Football Club next season?
Yes. Why? I don't agree that these people that they say that he's not good enough and he shouldn't be there. He proved in more than one occasion that he should be part of that central midfield. I think with Zubimendi coming in, if that is now it looks signed, sealed, and delivered, I think that strengthens us. But Partey's, for me, he's got to stay, because all you've got to do again is look at that goal against PSG at home and how big that gap was in the central midfield, and that's where you see that we missed him. Partey, Odegaard, and Rice should be our starting 3 midfielders. Yeah,
I think we're going to bring in some others, and that'll maybe change the tune a bit. I agree with you, Andrew. I agree with you. The one thing that's worrying me, mate, is I've not seen a picture of Partey in the new kit yet.
Oh, good spot. I haven't spotted that.
It was raised on social media this week, so I've been looking, right, and I've not seen a picture of him in the.
There was some video footage of him and his wife and babies and stuff waving very fondly to everybody afterwards. But listen, the deal mightn't be done, as long as he signs before the 1st of July, an extension. Yeah, 1st of July. So as Jeff said, the same as you, Trev, that Party wasn't in any of the shirt promos.
I suppose it gives it all away, doesn't it? If someone does come in for a stupid, no, because he's out of contract, isn't he? So
I've always got a calendar. There's always at least one player in there that you think, I remember Pepe being in after he'd gone and everything else. So it doesn't really say very much. It just means who was probably available at the time. I do think if we can sign him for another year or 2 years, a 1+1, I think it'd be a really good idea. He's been outstanding this season. It's been his best season for me, I think, this season. And with Zubimendi coming in, as you said, Andrew, it's a nice handover almost. And then when Zubimendi is embedded into the side properly, then bring in and replace maybe Lewis Skelly moves into Party's position.
We've got to take Zubimendi whatever, because look what happened to us in the middle of last season. It's like we had Party was out, we had Odegaard, we had Rice, and we go back to his injuries again. We had no cover at all, and we needed someone with of class and stature to come in and actually take over the midfield.
Do you know? I think you're all right, and I think Ben's right, and I think I've been looking at the comments. Thomas Partey, unfortunately for Thomas Partey, all his best work goes unnoticed, right? But he strolls around that field and he makes so many great tackles and he looks up and moves the ball, and I think is really important. But come on, boys, let's not dodge the issue, right? Because we're in all these stories about Thomas Partey. I'm not going to say any more than that he may end up in court, right? We have to say it's out there. You see it every day. But what I will say for me, I don't comment on anybody. Thomas Partey, Fergus Trev, Andrew, anyone. I would never comment on anyone until they've had a fair trial in court, right?
Absolutely. I was going to say,
innocent until proven guilty.
True. And remember what club we have. They stood by Tony Adams and Paul Merson in their dark days, but also they do their due diligence and they get rid of bad eggs. They've got rid of Aubameyangs and people like that with poor, poor attitudes and poor. I don't. You know what I'm coming at. The club do their due diligence, and I think if there's
any way that they thought he was guilty in any way, he wouldn't be here.
I think I think they've got enough confidence to say that he won't be found guilty of anything.
That's what I mean.
And clubs have to be careful because it's happened already. A player gets accused of something, they chuck him out the club, and it turns out that in fact that player was innocent, and it ends up making the club look terrible. So, I mean, I didn't want to start a whole big conversation here, but we have to show sometimes on this podcast that we don't dodge issues, And I just say, at the end of that court case, I'll give a view. Until then, he's an Arsenal player,
Yeah.
Look, right. Ferg, I'm sort of taking over from you a bit here, right? But there's a couple of other things here.
Well,
Ferg,
I've done all my notes. I was ready to close, but you.
I'll chuck this
I'll take your lead.
Ferg, right?
Well, let's go.
Be interested to see the debate on this, right? Really interesting because everyone knows that I hold Bukayo Saka close to my heart. Don't worry, Ferg. I'm not going to tell the old story, but I watched his career develop, right? And I love the kid. I couldn't love a player any more than I love Bukayo Saka. But since he came back from that injury, he's not looked right to me.
He hasn't looked fit. No. Again, a conversation me and Dan were having yesterday. We just said he just didn't look right, and when his number went up for him to be replaced by Havertz, we're both pleased because he just doesn't look fit. I do think he comes under extra pressure because he's doubled up on quite a lot as well, which we know that's happened before the injury and after the injury. But I think he might have been not necessarily rushed back, but I think they encouraged them back a bit more for was it the Real or the PSG game? I can't remember which one. The Real game, the Champions League game, and he put a lot of it into that. I personally wouldn't start him on
No.
Sunday. Bring him on for 20 minutes at the end or something like that. Start Havertz and bring him on.
He's been absolutely kicked from pillar to post at the start of this season, wasn't he? He was the one that everybody went for. So we don't know what he's carrying and what's going on. If any player in that team, careful,
Exactly.
other than Rice, needs a rest, it's Saka.
Exactly. And do you know what? You're right, Andrew. You're exactly right. Because at the start of the season, we were watching two players on him every time. One to tackle him, one to kick him. And so the lad's been through it. I think
taking into consideration the extra workload he's had as well. Take away, he's not had Ben White. He's not had Odegaard. He's been injured himself. So there's been a lot of added pressure on everybody. And I think the biggest part of Saka's game for me is he relies massively on the overlap of Ben White and Odegaard days as well. And he's not had it. He's had to work extra hard, probably injured. So, I agree, Fig. I don't think he'll start Sunday.
Yeah.
Wanyeri needs a run out as well, so that's a perfect opportunity to bring Wanyeri out for me.
100%. I mean, look, people are starting to worry about Wanyeri not getting game time. I'm not worried at all. You mentioned it earlier, Fergus. Got a lot of people want to play in that position, and Wanyeri will have his time. Do you want me to carry on? I've got a couple of other bits here. Just want to chuck at you.
The only thing I was going to do, and the next two shows are going to be slightly different. Friday, Trevor, you're doing. Monday, we're going to not have next Monday. We're probably going to be Wednesday because I'm coming back from Germany. But when we do Wednesday next week, if people are up for it, we'll do a phone in and people can ring in and say what they think and have their say and chat to me, Trev, and we rotate it around with different people. But the person I'd like to talk about is the guy who's been named to go on the preseason tour, which is Max Downham.
Max Dowman.
Yeah. Max Dowman looks an unbelievable quality young lad. Couldn't get in the first team this year because he didn't turn 16 whilst in the season. But next year, while it's still 15, he will turn 16 when the season is running. So he will be able to play for the first team. How much have you, Trevor? I've seen sod all of him, but Andrew, have you seen much of him?
Yeah, Theo watches him. So because obviously, and who better to aspire to than someone like that to come through the ranks? Quality player. He reminds me of a Declan Rice stroke Martin Odegaard sort of player, because he's got really quick feet and he can find a pass. But my God, does he work hard? He probably covers every blade of grass. I saw him play against, I think it was Man United in the FA Cup. We were watching it. Arsenal went out in extra time. And he was just everywhere. He was left, right, centre, back in the defence. Just what a player. I mean, keeping hold of him is he's priceless moving forward because, bringing through one of our own.
Yeah, Cross Chunky says Dowman is a baller. The ball's glued to his foot. He's some awesome player.
Unreal.
And Jeff comes along and says it's like a one-man team. It'd really be interesting to see how this kid comes through. I've got nothing else, Trev.
Well, fortunately for you, I have. Well, look, firstly, right, we're going to talk about the season next week, but to sow the seed in people's minds, right, for next week when we do a bit of a review of the season. Overall this season, with 1-0, we can't argue that's a fact. But I don't think we've regressed at all. I think there's been some outside influences that have gone against us. I think we've been a bit unlucky. I think we've found opposition players that have played out of their skin against us, i.e. Donnarumma last week. But I don't think we've regressed. And if you want to phone in next week and have a chat about that, that would be absolutely perfect. Then there's lots of people like us that do these podcasts and do this social media stuff. A lot of them I like, a lot of them I don't like. But what I would ask of people, I'm not asking people, I don't tell people what to do. But what I would say on here, and it won't happen because Fergus is our glorious leader who I love, but I know we'll never do it because I know how Fergus works. If you run out of something to say about someone, don't say anything. Don't make things up. Don't make things up. I've seen it start happening with Arteta. Don't make things up about people. If you've got nothing on them, don't generate something. Just leave it be like we do and talk about something else, right? And then lastly for me, right, this season, it's down to you, Ferg, and you, Andrew, and loads of other people. I'm not going to name drop any other names because if I forgot someone, I'll be devastated, right? A special mention for me, mate, Dan, who I do all the European trips with now. This has been the best football season for me personally, watching the Arsenal I've had in many, 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 many years, right? And I'll tell you why. Firstly, it's because most of the time the Arsenal have been a pleasure to watch, right? But I'm a person of my age, right? And I say this with a laugh. I'd sort of turn into this person that I thought I had to be at my age, right? Bit boring watching football, refusing to scream and shout. And this season, at the start of this season, I thought, fuck it. I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be a bit of an idiot, a bit of a dickhead, and sing and shout.
You were good at that. You were very good at it. Very good. Very good.
I've loved every second of it. I've loved every single second of it. And thank everybody that's coming on with me. And lastly, Ferg, Andrew Ferg, you might want to know this. I've just seen an advert for Monday Night Football, right, where Jamie and Gary are going to talk about the season after the game, right? So some people, I'm telling you, you might want to tune in. Personally, I'd rather watch paint dry, stick needles in my eyes, and shit in my hands and clap all at the same time. That's how interested I'm in that bit.
Have you ever wanted a review? There you go.
There you go. Yeah, Trevor, it has been great, and we will do Wednesday week. So not this coming Wednesday, the following Wednesday, we'll do the phone in. Now, whatever day works for you guys, but I'm not back in the UK until Tuesday. So we'll do a phone in. Hopefully, people want to phone in and chat. You'll have to go to our YouTube channel to get the link, but it's easy just to link in and go on your mobile phone and do that. Trevor, you're going to do Friday night the review. There was 2 games that we missed out on the review last Friday because of the FA Cup final: Manchester City versus Bournemouth and Crystal Palace versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Do you want to quickly give me what you think their score predictions would be on those 2?
No, not really. No. Not interested. I really hope, right? This is really harsh, right? This is really.
I'd like Bournemouth to get some points.
I hope Man City lose both their remaining games and don't get into Europe, right?
Exactly.
I will just. I will. I'll be speechless like I am now, but I'll be smiling. Yeah, I'd love for them not to qualify for Europe. And big old Erling Haaland, who signed a 107-year contract, can sweat it out in the lower reaches of the Premier League. And then next season, they'll get found guilty and they'll drop down 4 leagues to the conference and they'll be coming to play Boston United. And I'll be booing Mr. Haaland then as well, right?
Could you imagine if Boston?
Oh, brilliant. That'll be ace.
Listen, if they lose the last 2 games, they'll probably end up in the conference. Could you imagine Man City in the conference? That would be just perfect. But I do think half the problem at Man City, and just to finish off, half the problem at Man City is they know what's coming. They've already had a heads up what's coming, and that's why they don't care, because they know they're not going to be in Europe next season, and they're going to be dropping down the leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to press that button. I've got a new one.
Oh, hang on. One more thing. Not really. Press the button.
This is the one. This is one from after the game when the teams were doing the walk around afterwards. And Trevor, you can explain while you're wound up afterwards. That's about half hour, 20 minutes after the game finished, Trev, isn't it?
Yeah, easy that. And there was 4 older people, older than me, behind me. I don't know where they'd come from because they don't sit behind me. And when they put that on, then we're all like getting emotional. And I look round, right, and they're not even looking at the game. They're not even thinking about singing North London Forever. I heard one of them talking about what might happen on Coronation Street this week, right? Get out. Get out. If that's what you think about my club, sell your ticket to some of these young lads that are struggling to get tickets and let them come in and support our team, right? Come on. I don't tell people to sing it. People like North London Forever, or they don't like North London Forever. But and so sing it if you want, sing it if you don't. But don't be having a chat about Coronation Street when we're watching the team go around the pitch singing it. That's like, come on, give me a break. Give me a break.
Andrew,
I'm hyperventilating.
He's vented now. So
do you know what? You can't really finish on that, can you? That's a good point to finish on, isn't it?
It is.
Do you know what though? I will be honest though. You go back to the memories. Wow, I have probably made the best memories ever this year with everybody. And do you know what? There's everybody in our North Bank. You know, there's you, Ferg, Trev. I'm not going to name everybody because I'll miss everybody out, but. You know, I just want to say a big thing because I don't know if we'll be on this again next. I'll be on next week with you to if I get dropped or not, or we're in. But I just want to say a big thank you to everybody from our block 5, the Woodbine, everybody that has made this season probably the best and one of the best memories for me and my boy this year.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ferg, do you know what my best memory is of the season? Right, I think it happened about halfway through the season.
You need to save these for the Wednesday phone. But go on.
I think it was about halfway through the season, right? And you disappeared off, and I thought, where's Ferg going? And you come back with a tray of 4 beers. I thought, Jesus Christ, that's one memory for the season I won't forget. Oh, my word. Oh, my word.
How many beers did you buy yesterday?
I think I got 2 rounds all day.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so, but what you went up to get your round once and you paid with my card, so don't give me that bull crap.
No, I went up and you're too lazy to get up with your fat ass and said, "Oh, Ferg," I said, "Do you want a beer?" And you go, "I'll pay for it." Oh, by the way, get him one as well. Okay, yeah.
You know how old I am?
We were finishing on such a positive note, and now you two are bickering like two old people. Jesus Christ.
You're 8.5 years older than me. God, look at the difference. I hope I don't go downhill as quick as that. 384 people watching in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time to watch us. Sorry about the domestic, but that's the way it happens every week.
And I'm sorry that all you 384 people out there don't hear scandal from us and don't hear us calling our players and manager out. And hopefully that's why you watch us, because, we'll say it how it is, but we're not going to work. We love our team too much. The team sits deep in the heart with the Dad Burton Army boys, and you'll never come on here and see me ranting and raging about a player or a manager. If I think they're crap, I'll say they're crap, but I ain't going to go any further than that. Not a chance. I love every one of you for listening. Thank you. I love you, Andrew. Ferg, I suffer.
I tolerate you.
I sort of love you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anyway, it's a love to hate. I hate to love you. Yeah, no, I love to hate you. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I'm confused. See what you've done to me. Listen, you have been watching a Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. There he goes.
Up
the Arsenal.
Name is Gabby. From Sao
Paulo.
And he plays for
Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal. Fox Spurs.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.